I do think that he is shattered by this because the prestige and the titles, comfort knowing who he is in this world has always meant a lot to him, and his ability to use those titles to kind of not even need a personality or any substance. If he could just throw that card on the table and get everything he wanted, he loved that. It really saved him a lot of time, And now, to some degree, that's been taken away. Of course, in his public statement, he makes it sound as though it was his idea. We all know that King Charles, Prince William, took him aside and said, "What is the matter with you? No more. We must put our foot down." Now, but why would they do that suddenly? Because it's been a slow drip this whole time, has it not? Drip, drip, drip. We've all been seeing who Andrew was. Hello, how are you? Welcome to my channel. My name is Dear Denise. I told you on Friday we would talk on Monday about the fact that Prince Andrew has had his titles taken from him. And this is spectacular news. It also perfectly dovetails with our reading today, because today we're going to read about the time when he sat down for that interview and he said all sorts of foolish things like, "I no longer sweat," and "I had to meet with a pedophile because I'm so honorable," and "I had an alibi for the night you're discussing because I was eating at a pizza party in Woking," and of course that's such a crazy thing for me to do. Of course I remembered it, even though nobody else did. It was a spectacular moment for the world, because as we watched it, we came away from it thinking, what in the world is wrong with him? Something's wrong with him. He had zero accountability. All of his excuses were so flimsy to the point of being shockingly bad. It seemed as though nobody had taken any time to role play with him. No time had been taken to prep him for the possibility of some strange questions. He was truly making it up on the fly. And it's surprising to me, and I think it's surprising to the entire world, that this person could be philandering and telling lies and going here, there, and everywhere, making all kinds of horrible decisions, and he hadn't been called to account yet when his ability to lie was so bad. How in the world did this person get to where they are in their scandal-ridden life when this is the way they would cover their tracks? And what it really did was highlight how much help he had in making his foolish decisions. Really cast a bad light on the palace and everybody associated with the royal family. That this guy who would say, "Well, see, I don't really sweat, so her story couldn't be true." Like, those are the excuses that he's coming up with. So he clearly wasn't the one hiding what he was up to. It was everybody else around him. And that was really the beginning of the royal family needing to distance themselves from him because he was a liability. All right, so our readings today are so on point for what is in the news, because we're going to be reading about the beginning of the end. And right now, what we're watching play out in front of us is truly another step down for Prince Andrew. Now, I think the ultimate step down, the ultimate eradication of his existence is when he is no longer a prince. And I truly think, and Andrew Lowney has also said this, who is the author of our book, obviously, that Prince Andrew needs to lose the prince part of that title.
I think that he should be an ordinary citizen. The prince title should go. I think he should be stripped properly of the garter. He's, I think, an honorary vice admiral. He's still in the line of succession. He's still a councillor of state. He's still on the royal website. If they are serious about dealing with this problem, they need to actually totally distance themselves, because he's actually damaging the monarchy as it stands.
Like, really, what is the Duke of York being taken away? That doesn't really disable him from all of the privileges. Yes, of course, nobody wants to see him around the royal family. He doesn't need to be on the balcony and all this, but, his whole life was just, I want to go play golf, and I want to live in a fancy residence, and I want to go and eat all the fancy dinners, and I want to do all the fancy things. Not being Duke of York is bad, I suppose, in England, but I think for the rest of the world, Prince Andrew is the title that counts. And for him to still retain that, to still be able to live at Royal Lodge, I just don't think it's going to hit him hard enough. I do think that he is shattered by this because the prestige and the titles and the comfort knowing who he is in this world has always meant a lot to him, more than it meant to anybody else. And his ability to use those titles to kind of not even need a personality or any substance. If he could just throw that card on the table and get everything he wanted, he loved that. It really saved him a lot of time, And now, to some degree, that's been taken away. Of course, in his public statement, he makes it sound as though it was his idea. We all know that King Charles, Prince William, took him aside and said, "What is the matter with you? No more. We must put our foot down." Now, but why would they do that suddenly? Because it's been a slow drip this whole time, has it not? Drip, drip, drip. We've all been seeing who Andrew was. That interview was a long time ago. that he did where he's talking about I don't sweat and I'm so honorable, I met with a pedophile. Like that interview happened ages ago. It would seem that after that, he would have had his title stripped from him. But instead, he was told to take a major step back from royal duties. Well, that just gives him more time to play golf. You know, we'd still see him with the royal family. We'd still see him, and we'd see William standing there just being like, when is this fool going to be eradicated from my existence? You know, Prince William was never happy to see Andrew come along. So we can feel confident that Prince William had something to do with this most recent development. But I really think that there are three major reasons why Andrew at this moment was being pushed to drop the Duke of York titles. The first thing that happened, of the most recent things, I mean, as I said, it's been a long time coming. But the first thing I think that really started getting people concerned was a bit of leaked audio. Project Veritas had gotten John Bryant to admit that Andrew had lied to him and that Andrew had lied about sleeping with underage girls. This was about 5 months ago. Now, you'll recall that John Bryant has had a long-standing relationship with both Fergie and Andrew, and in fact had a very extensive relationship with Fergie. They were sleeping together for years. He helped her with a lot of her deals. He helped finagle a lot of financial situations. In fact, he was kind of known as the fixer. He's maintained that relationship and has helped both of them over the years. And you'll recall that it was John Bryant's friend who Fergie had another relationship with, and that friend is the one who said he wanted to commit suicide, and Fergie was like, well, when you do kill yourself, could you go tell JFK that I want to get with his son? So this guy's been embedded for a really, really long time. And he was found speaking to a woman, presumably on a date, because, you know, that's how Project Veritas always does. They always get people in these little sting operations with the person accepting a date with a Project Veritas person, and then that person on the date gets the other guy to just spill his guts. Well, John Bryant did, and this is what he said.
I was so pissed about that. I was really pissed. I was really pissed because he lied to me about it.
Lied about
Epstein. Yeah. No, I knew he saw him. But he lied to me that he was such a close friend. I was so pissed. And then I did a big thing in the Daily Mail saying that I believed Andrew. And then I found out he was lying. I was so pissed. No, that he was underage girls.
That was about 5 months ago, and it was shockingly buried. Like, it got very little coverage. I don't even remember hearing about it at the time. And the emphasis is the fact that he says underage girls, and that Andrew was going around lying to all of them behind the scenes, and that, you know, come to find out, he had a very sexually explicit life doing all sorts of illegal things. And then John Bryant was left to try to sort of sort out how he could help Andrew. And he was very upset because that hadn't been told to him at the front. And he had to sort of backpedal and help him on the back end of such an explosive revelation. Okay, well, now he says he didn't mean any of it. Okay, well, but that's not what you told your date. So that happened about 5 months ago, and the palace was pretty effective in covering that up. But then Andrew Lowney's book comes out, and it is explosive. And if, as you know, he had been writing and working on this for 4 years. I think he said he interviewed 3,000 people and only 300 people were willing to go on the record. He sent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of requests for information about Andrew's travel logs and what his business dealings looked like where was he making meetings, and no one at the Foreign Office would answer. He even met with Fergie to get her input on the book. He's like, look, this book is about you. You can talk to me about this, tell me your side of it. And at first she said maybe, but then she pulled out of that completely. And she was very ingratiating and like syrupy sweet with him when she came to his house to meet with him about the book. But then she got very icy, told all her friends to work with him, and he got many threats. His publishers were threatened pretty extensively, but they pressed on, thank God for that. And I think it's the revelations of this book as people have been reading it and just, completely and totally shocked by what's in this book. It's just crazy. It's one of the craziest books I've ever read. And it has everything. It's got the explicit love affairs. It's got the illegal activity. It's got money. It's got wealth. It's got royalty. It's got flying all over the world, making secret deals. It's got everything. This book, if somebody were to give me this book and be like, I wrote a story about these two royals and they were so crazy, and this is what I read, I'd be like, why don't you tone it down a notch? Come on. You don't have to hit every trope. But this book is completely real. And can you imagine what has happened that didn't make it into the book, that he wasn't able to get on the record? I mean, what he has written is insane. I'll never forget the half a side of beef, the leg of lamb, and the chicken that went untouched all night while they ate bags of kettle crisps. I mean, that's insane. The waste, just the continual affairs. I mean, it's wild. It's one of the wildest books I've ever read. So as people began to really see, bam, 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 all the things, because like I said, this book is like a machine gun of facts. It's just like in your face, you know? As people are reading this, it's like, what the hell is that guy still doing, having any association with the royal family? Why did they have any association with him? The palace has known about this. And of course, as we've been reading it, that's been our big takeaway. Why has the palace continued a relationship with these people? I do not understand it. You know, why have they covered for him like this so long? I said at the beginning, one of the most damning things about that interview was that he's such a bad liar and so bad on his feet that it stood to reason that there was a lot of people doing his work for him as far as covering up his tracks, because he clearly can't do it. And so it became imperative that the royal family do something with Andrew as this book came out, because yet again, another horrible spotlight on the way they've allowed him to get away with the things that he has done. So we needed another round, another level of discipline for Andrew. And see, that's kind of the problem here, is that like they are not striking instantaneously against him when these things are discovered. I mean, I think that when the queen was alive, she just protected him so much. And when she died, it did give people more room to kind of take the axe to his lifestyle. But they keep sort of like tapping at the tree with a butter knife. Get a chainsaw, you know? So this book, entitled, did not help Andrew and his reputation. But then I think the final blow is the Virginia book that's coming out. I think that there is major unrest at the palace as people in fear and trepidation and in trembling look forward to that book being released, I think on the 21st of this month. So it's just been a lot of things in succession where all of his problems from before have come back up. Also, a series of emails have been leaked. Forgot that. And these emails to Jeffrey Epstein after the interview where he said, I cut off all contact. Now talk to Epstein about, we'll get through this together and we'll play again soon. Let's not tell the pedophile we'll play again soon. Let's not say that, especially since you just told the entire world that you saw Jeffrey Epstein for the monster he was and distanced yourself as soon as you were able. But then you want to circle back around and be like, let's play again soon. It's bad, but I stand with Andrew Lowney when he says, why does this guy still have the title of prince? That's what people want stripped off of him. And it won't be enough until they do that. Is it going to take everyone reading the Virginia book for them to finally take the last and final blow? But just do it now so that you don't look so impotent. Limping along to the finish line of getting rid of this guy and his reputation. I mean, just do it already. You obviously have problems with him because you're doing unprecedented things like, well, that's it for you and your titles. Take the final step. You're going to have to eventually. I mean, you cannot allow him to stay at Royal Lodge. You cannot allow this to go on. Now, he has a 75-year lease at Royal Lodge, so it's a little bit dicey on how they're going to evict him. But if he's no longer a prince, then you evict him. Royal Lodge, I think, is part of the Crown properties. And I don't think that if you're just a nobody, that they're going to allow you to stay at Royal Lodge. Well, let's make him a nobody, He has plenty of other places to go. I think that's the other thing. It's not like this is his only place to live. He has tons of places all over the place. He's got an apartment in Abu Dhabi, as we know, and he hasn't sold that yet. He has houses everywhere. There are places for him to go. Also, he has plenty of money, okay? So I think that there have been these ideas that he, was hurting for money. No, he is fine. He is doing fine. So I think that enough already of coddling him and sort of coaxing him through all his troubles and his trials. Royal family, if you want us to believe that this monarchy needs to stay, handle business, And I think that Prince William has really leaned on his father to get some things done. And I'm grateful for it. But I also just think we need to finish the job. So I am encouraged that they're doing something. But I think that you and I can both agree that it's a little bit disturbing that they aren't just finishing it off. Because, as I think most of us would agree, the title that really matters is the title of prince. And that would show that they really were done with him. And they were not going to give any leniency to any sex offender. I just think that it's incredibly, incredibly important that they show very definitively where they stand on this sort of subject. Just because as part of the royal family, you're always there with a target on your back. It's always time to criticize you. For whatever reason, people love it. They love to criticize anybody in power and anybody elite, and sometimes well worth the criticism. But if you know you're already sort of subject to constant criticism and constant critiques of everything you do, no matter what you wear, say, or where you show up, make sure that you're taking decisive action against those people who are sullying your reputation when it's already so hard to maintain your reputation, even when you're doing everything right. And so it remains to be seen, but I don't think we'll see Andrew buried as Prince Andrew. I think before he dies, that title will be taken from him. And I think that would really be the crippling blow. And I think that his actions deserve it. There are consequences to what we do. And I know that he just loves and adores the fact that he has all these titles and who he is in life, and it's really been the crutch he's gotten through his life with. Well, I'm sorry, you're going to have to be a cripple crawling on the floor now, because we're going to take that crutch from you. You cannot be a prince. That's how it needs to be. Pure and simple. You chose your actions and you chose the consequences. This is your choice. This is nobody doing anything to you, although I know beyond a shadow of a doubt he's really going to look as though he's really been hard put against and everyone's been so unkind to him, and he's going to be a victim of this. Here I was just completely misunderstood by the masses. I told you I didn't have anything to do with that, Virginia. Well, then why in the world are we finding emails where you and Ghislaine are coming up with a dossier of things that you can give to the media that would undermine Virginia if she's no threat to you? Why would you pay her off before you've ever gone to court if she's no threat to you? He was really threatened by her. And I think that's why this memoir that is coming out is so threatening to him, because of all of the accusations that he has faced, her accusations are the ones that seem to be the most damning. I think even if he had been mixed up with Jeffrey Epstein, so are a lot of people. I think he could have legitimately gotten himself out of that. Well, not legitimately, but I think that he could have wiggled his way out of too many accusations, as so many other people did. But it's Virginia Giuffre's reference to him. It's her naming him that has really brought down his legacy. So that book coming out is not good. But I think what really, really got everybody angry is this book about Entitled. And I think it made everybody very angry that Andrew has had this much leeway to do what he was going to do with this much help. And it's Entitled, I think, really that pushed the palace to have to deal with him. And then with the Virginia Giuffre book coming up, it's just like, oh, good night. What are we going to do with this guy? Every time we turn around, it's another highlight of what he's been up to all these years. So our readings today are spectacular because they're going behind the scenes to when this really all started to crumble. So we're going to start talking about the beginning of the end today, and it is juicy. So I hope that you will join me for that video today. See you then. Bye.